Christmas at Liberty's. Written by Fiona Ford. Read by Annie Aldington. The moral right of the author has been asserted. Prologue. December 1925. As the familiar pinpricks of light danced invitingly up ahead, the little girl stopped in the middle of the crowded street, unable to tear her gaze away. The sight of the sparkling shop windows always sent a thrill down her spine, and she wanted to drink it all in. Every Christmas, together with her mother and sister, Mary visited London to buy gifts for the family, and this store was always the highlight of the trip. The black and white mock Tudor building looked like it belonged in a fairy tale rather than in the heart of London. She was eager to step inside. Glancing up, Mary realised her mother was too busy telling off her younger sister to have even noticed where they were. She bit her lip in irritation. Clarissa was always spoiling things, and this time Mary had had enough. Before she could change her mind, Mary let go of her mother's hand and dashed through the crowds of Christmas shoppers, determined to claim her prize. Ignoring her mother's cries, she charged on, darting through legs, dodging shopping bags, and rounding perambulators. Finally reaching the window, she let out a gasp of delight. Up close, the display was even more magical, and she pressed her face against the glass. At the centre of the window was the largest Christmas tree Mary had ever seen. It towered above her, ablaze with fairy lights, each bulb sparkling like the brightest stars in the sky. In between the lights, glittering tinsel in hues of red, gold and green hugged the branches, while glass baubles in every colour dangled tantalisingly from the pine. The girl had never seen anything so beautiful, and as her gaze strayed to the mound of Christmas presents, elegantly wrapped in red and green paper and topped off with a silver or gold ribbon, she shook her head in wonder. Just then, she felt a hand clamp down on her shoulder. Startled, she looked up at its owner, only to come face to face with her mother. "Mary! You mustn't run off like that!" the woman exclaimed.
"I'm sorry, Mummy," the girl said in a small voice. "I just wanted to see the lights. They're so pretty."
The woman's face softened as she turned away from Mary and gazed back towards the window. "They're rather special, aren't they?"
"I've never seen anything so magical, Mummy. I want to climb inside."
Mary's mother turned her gaze back to the child and smiled. "Well, why don't we see if they'll let you and Clarissa do just that?"
"Do you really think they will?"
the child gasped. The woman winked, holding out a hand for her daughter to hold. "This is Liberty's, darling. Dreams come true here." Chapter 1. September 1941. Glancing up at the thick black clouds that had suddenly gathered ominously overhead, Mary Holmes Fotherington quickened her pace along the narrow London street. Although she'd been a frequent visitor to London as a driver in the Women's Army, the changing landscape still took her breath away. The grimy streets were covered in soot, and mounds of rubble surrounded shelled-out buildings, so that the place looked more like a ghost town than a capital city. With only one good coat to her name, she was eager to resist the late summer rain she knew would surely soak her straight through. Spotting her final destination just yards away, Mary ran the last few steps, her suitcase banging painfully against her shins at the sudden change in pace. Seconds later, she arrived at the 2 up, 2 down terraced house not far from the Elephant and Castle tube station. Raising her hand to rap loudly on the door, she became aware of her racing heartbeat and clammy forehead. Pausing for a moment to smooth down her hair, she tugged at the collar of her coat to ensure it was straight, then took a deep breath to steady herself. Now, more than ever, she needed to make a good impression, and she was darned if she would allow nerves to get in the way. Lifting the knocker again, the door swung open before she had a chance to use it, almost causing Mary to lose her balance and fall straight into the open doorway. Instead, she did her best to compose herself as she came face to face with a heavily pregnant young woman with thick blonde hair and rosy cheeks. Her sapphire blue eyes gazed at Mary with undisguised curiosity as she rubbed her bump.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?